What's up, everyone? Today on Open Mind Podcast, special guest Nigel from Higher Healths Canada and Higher Healths USA. Hey, Nigel, how are you?
Doing well, Marco. Thanks for having me on.
How's the weather where you are?
You know what? It is threatening to snow out here, and so
Mm.
yeah, winter's not letting go of its grip. So,
Oh wow.
but that's okay. I'm okay with that. That's fine. It's all good. I know that spring's around the corner.
Yeah, it's getting there. We had an ice storm here in Montreal like 2 weeks ago. It was really bad. A lot of people lost electricity, and now it's like summer-ish kind of weather. It changes the weather so fast here in Canada. It's
Oh
unbelievable.
yeah. It's like people's moods. It's great. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. So, Nigel, now that I have you here, the first question that comes to mind, it's what made you start or gave this idea or go down this path of starting Higher Health? What influenced you? What inspired you?
Great question. A fully loaded question too. Uh, so the journey started when I lost control of my own health, and I ended up going. I was in the process of becoming an expert, becoming the expert. I went to school for nutrition, and I was becoming the expert on the food guide, the food pyramid, which
Mm-hmm.
is everyone's scope of practice when they go to a traditional school. Nutritionists, dietitians, that's the scope of practice. And it's not until you end up getting sick that you have a look at other options. Maybe there's other options out there other
Mm-hmm.
than the methods that I've been pushed on or been sold here. So what ended up happening is I was the expert in that field now, and I was following it to a T myself with my own health. I was very engaged. I wanted to know everything, being very passionate about sports, about health, and I got dialed in on nutrition very early on, and kind of curious. It was all from a curious standpoint of, well, how does the human body get fueled properly for optimal performance? And so that's what led me into school. But there I was now, a year, that's all it was, about a year after my college university classes were done. I got sick, and it
Mm-hmm.
was by following, the food guide. And it should be no surprise, though at the time for me it kind of was. Uh, but I was young and ignorant and just kind of believing in the dogma that was out there. So I was consuming way too many grains for myself, and the the recommendations on servings of grains was 6 to 12 servings a day. And now, looking back, it's also unbelievably foolish that, of course I got sick. So I ended up with digestive tract issues, energy issues, skin issues coming along with that. Yeah, it was just kind of a mess. And I got to a point where I was so uncomfortable with digestive issues that I was forced to have a look at what was going on. And intuitively, I was looking at and thinking nutrition first. You have that connection with food, and immediately a lot of folks,
Mm-hmm.
when you have something and you feel bad, it's an easy connection to make, right?
Yeah.
So I made that connection, and then I started going, well, it turns out my education's not done. And that's when my journey really started. And some of the books that were kind of instrumental in
Mm-hmm.
my journey were a book called Deep Nutrition by Dr. Kate Shanahan. And ultimately, what it was having a good look at what human food was and how our ancestors ate. What did it look
Yes.
like? And you quickly realize, holy, like all these things in the grocery store, they never existed. Uh,
No. No.
all of these, fruits and vegetables were would be unrecognizable to our ancestors. These have been hybridized and bred to become so big, beautiful, and sweet. They would be unrecognizable in nature. So, uh, it was a book like that connected me to roots, like eating off of the bone,
Mm-hmm.
getting into making bone broth, looking at whole animal perspectives, which was almost instantaneous, Marco. Like my diet changed my health immediately changed. And so it just, it never stopped from there. I couldn't get out of it. I needed to digest more. I needed more information. So I went and branched off in anything. And all of a sudden my radar got so much
Yes.
stronger for what was actually, you know, bullshit in the
Mm-hmm.
nutrition world and what was not. And it became so simple. Nutrition became simple again. And it got me thinking of, you know, how frustrating nutrition actually is today. Look how
Yes.
unbelievably convoluted, confusing it is, all in the name of money, of big agriculture, of big oil, of big sugar. These industries that have kind of taken over and created this ultra processed, toxic food supply that we have today. And
Mm-hmm.
we see this massive rise in chronic illness that we've never seen before, that our ancestors never once had to deal with. They were non-existent. And so I never left that world. I kept getting deeper and deeper involved in that. And so in my own life, I started, with hunting. It went back to hunting.
Mm.
I questioned everything. You know, why were we throwing away the heart? Why were we throwing away the liver? And instead, I stopped doing that. I harvested it, even though, my brother and my cousins gave me super strange looks, going like, "What are you doing? Why are you taking all of the legs from this white-tailed deer and
Yeah.
busting out the saw and taking your time to break these bones down, to take the liver, take the heart, take the tongue, take the brains, all of this stuff?" I was now in this thought process of waste not, want not. And
Mm.
it was so right. And it, that's what really kind of created that passion. And so it went on and on from there, Marco, where I started, and my nutrition background kind of evolved, and I became a functional diagnostic nutritionist, where I was much more interested in looking under the hood, which is what the name of the game really is when it comes to functional diagnostic nutritionists,
Mm-hmm.
looking at what are the root cause, not just the symptoms, not just the smoke, but where's the fire actually created. and
Yeah.
and that was all about, running panels and discovering what's hormone levels, what's that look like, how's the gut functioning, all those kind of things. So within all of my clients, I always failed miserably at getting them to eat whole animal. The organ meats were like,
Yeah.
the
It's hard.
organ meats were a hard no, and I was always faced with super strange, weird looks, a complete lack of education when it came to that. So there were some serious hurdles, and I never ever won the battle when it came to including the organ meats. And the last and final straw was my wife. So
Mm-hmm.
here we were, getting ready to build a family. And yeah, I was the weird guy going, well, this is a non-negotiable to my wife. You have to eat the organ meats. And so again, there was no way that I could possibly cook it to mask it well enough for her. She could
Mm-hmm.
not stand the taste, the texture, the smell. I couldn't even cook organ meats in the house anymore without getting the eye roll or her running out the door kind of thing.
Yeah. Open
And
the window.
yeah, exactly. And in her defense, fair enough, it's extremely potent, and our palates have changed drastically over the last few decades. Our palates have become much more accustomed to the ultra processed foods. We much
Yes.
we much prefer McDonald's now, not liver.
Yeah, it's accessible too. It's more accessible. McDonald's. That's, I think, the biggest problem right now is when people, because we live such busy lives, we always go to the fast food chains, right? And actually, Nigel, I want to touch something, touch base with you on. We're gonna touch back a little bit on social media before and where we're going with health, but something that you said that actually triggered something for me as well, and I think should affect other people is people never question anything. They don't question themselves, like, why are we living this way? Why are we eating these food? Why are we having these reactions to our body? When I was vegan, not for very long, probably a month, and then I switched over to vegetarian, I'd always ask myself this very dumb, silly question. Something like a chicken. If I'm not going to eat the chicken, fine. But what is the purpose of the egg? Why do chickens produce eggs? We have to go back. I like to believe, I actually do believe that we have to live like our ancestors. Like the point of the chicken egg was for us to eat it. We are hunters and gatherers. And I think what's happened with society is they see some these mega farms that are like could be hurting the animals, being really cruel. And just make, and when people see that, they are like, no, I can't. And that's why they're becoming vegetarian or vegan, because they see the cruelty of the animals. And I think that's what happened to me personally. So that was a changing point in my life. But being vegetarian and vegan didn't only last about a year and a half. And as soon as I switched to that carnivore diet, I felt my energy that was always like not high, but like somewhere in the middle, always plateauing. But as soon as I switched, within that 2 weeks, I felt this upburst of, oh my God, I've been missing this. I know in my heart, and I've been in denial. Like I said, I did it for the animals, but as soon as I started eating meat again, it's like I have so much energy now. My wife was extremely happy too, because she was eating less meat to support my decision, right? But now we're eating much more meat now,
Good.
and I wanted to go back to you on social media, because what do you have any concerns with social media? And we're talking about, you just discussed before about how confusing it can be with health. Like these, like what are you concerned about? Like certain family members seeing this, or certain friends, and like what do you think could happen if it continues like this? Like this whole what's good for you kind of war on foods.
Oh, great question. Yes. Yeah. Oh, for sure. 100% fully concerned about that. You know, there's a massive disconnect, and there's a lot of noise right now. And I'm sure
Mm.
everybody listening is, unless you're living under a rock, you're completely aware of the massive push for plant-based eating, right? It's
Yeah.
it's unavoidable. The the disconnection from how food is made is at an all-time high. And where does that lead? Marco, is a great question. We don't have to wonder where that leads. We already know where that leads. We're seeing a rise in chronic illness. We're seeing a rise in infertility, a
Yes.
drop in testosterone, a drop in sperm production, motility, quality, uh, fertility. All of these things are being drastically impacted right now as a
Mm.
direct result of our nutrient deficient, our toxic, completely nutrient bankrupted food supply. And
Yeah.
the greater the push for plant based is, and again, there's a lot of noise, and I understand why so many folks go that way. And a lot of it's the care and compassion that folks have for animals. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's where it stops. If if only more questions were asked and it went further, the the story would finally get fully told, and people would step foot on a farm, or at least go and have a look at how things are done on farms to understand how their food is made,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're vegan or vegetarian. You need to understand how your food is made. Just because you went vegetarian, vegan, doesn't mean that you
No.
get this, blank card, like this free pass on understanding how your food ends up on your plate. Because if you think that vegan and vegetarian foods are free of death, you do not understand the first thing about the life cycle and food, which is sad, because here we are with more technology and information at our fingertips than we've ever had before, yet we are less educated and dumber than our
Yes.
ancestors were, that had, by the way, 1,000 times better health than we do. And it's in it's in the data, right? Over the last few years, over the last decade, our fertility is more than halved. Testosterone has dropped by 1% for the every single year for the last 60 years. This is
Mm.
should be very concerning for us when we are being pushed plant foods that and this war on fat and cholesterol. We're not able to have proper hormone function. We're not able to be human being anymore.
Oh, absolutely. And on that note too, I feel like, again, as we say, like we're busier with our life and we have less knowledge of all this information. People tend to like say, we don't have time for this, so they look for the quick fix. So two things I want to talk about is actually something you just posted yesterday is about multivitamins, and my next one will be coffee.
Mm.
So something like multivitamins. So even if people don't eat properly, let's say they don't eat the most nutritional diet, they think something like a multivitamin, a $10 vitamin, will fix all their issues. Uh, for me personally, I ate taken some of the most generic multivitamins and just felt horrible after it. After it, like I just felt upset stomach. Besides getting extremely flashy, bright yellow urine and paying so much money that I'm probably absorbing 2% of that. What are your thoughts on like these generic multivitamins? Like, is it really like the best thing for people, or should they still like be focusing on eating healthy? Kind of what's you think multivitamins are the
Yeah.
most optimal thing for human beings today?
I
I feel that they're not. I personally don't. I think
Yeah, no, no, you're 100% right. That neon pee is not normal. It's not
glows
normal.
in the dark.
Yeah, right. Like, turn off the light. I got something to show you. Yeah. It's- I got this new multivitamin. It's amazing. Look at the color. Um, yeah, it's pretty wild. No, you're 100% right about that. You know, the question about supplementation though is I think for the most part we do need to supplement because
Mhm.
the foods that we're eating are not nearly as nutrient dense as they need to be.
Mhm.
We're not again and again, if you're not eating whole animal, for example, you go, back to the chicken conversation. What are
Yes.
most people going, and they're going to buy, you go for chicken wings or you go get
Yeah.
a box of chicken breast. The the important thing that I would love people to start asking is, what about the rest of that chicken? Was there no value in the rest of that chicken? Is it all just like garbage? Am I
Hmm.
am I missing out on something by not consuming the rest of that? And that goes for cows too. We everybody goes to the butcher or whatever, you get your favorite cut of steak or you get some ground beef and you stick to that. Well, what about the rest of the cow? Does the rest of the cow have zero value in it whatsoever? And
Hmm.
I challenge people with that. These are simple questions. But what I do know is that if you are not eating the rest of it, you are missing out. And so I think supplementation is necessary. Not think, I know supplementation is necessary if you are not eating whole animal. Most people are definitely not. So that's important. Now back to the multivitamin question. A lot of these synthetic, these lab made or plant-based, fruit-based multivitamins, yeah, and the quality is a whole nother very interesting topic. You get into the low grade stuff. Your top of the line synthetic, plant-based, fruit-based multivitamins are made, and these are the freshest that they can possibly get. And then company A, passes on the byproducts to company B to make their multivitamin, and then company B onto company C. So you have to understand that there is a price tag directly correlated with the quality oftentimes. Now, those lower quality ones, some of the higher quality ones, unfortunately, too, you're going to notice that they've got colorant on the outside to make it look healthier. That should be enough of a story to understand right there. Let's pick on, like, say, a Centrum. They've got like
Yeah.
yellow 33, red, like they've got
Yeah.
colorants in these things. These are not healthy. They are very damaging to the body, known carcinogens within them, directly related to cancers. These are banned in Europe. Many of these things,
Just
it's
to say, yeah.
yeah, like these are not okay, and some of them actually fill their product with lead for a little bit more weight. So you can grab the multivitamin and go, oh, this has got something to it. Great. So there's some dangers within the quality, but now let's talk about the highest quality multivitamin that you can get your hands on that's
Hmm.
synthetic, lab made, or plant based or fruit based. These are, as soon as you pick an orange off of the tree, it starts its dying process, and
Okay.
it's going to immediately start to lose vitamin and mineral content within there. the longer that goes, the more that it's going to lose its value, right? So thinking about the way that we farm things now, the soils, are the soils
Mm,
rich? Do they have everything that we need?
no.
Most absolutely do not, right? So we're talking about the potency of these fruits and vegetables that we're consuming now. They're they're nowhere near what they need to be, what they should be. Now, that's one topic. The other one is, how much do we actually get to absorb? How much of it is
Yes.
bioavailable to human beings? How much of it is recognizable that we can digest, uptake the minerals, the vitamins within it? And plant-based, fruit-based ones, oftentimes, all the time, excuse me, come with anti-nutrients that get in the way of that bioavailability, right?
Mm,
So plants and fruits come with, lectins, phytates, oxalates, tannins. These are all things that get in the way of our digestion and uptake of these. So don't get me wrong, plants and fruits are, they're loaded full of
yeah.
vitamins and minerals. Absolutely. But as a human being with our stomachs and our intestines, we don't get access to that. We're not a ruminant animal. We don't have rumens. We're not, we don't have the chambers within our
Yeah.
guts for proper fermentation to be able to pull out the nutritional value from grasses that ruminant animals like cows can, not
Yeah.
even anywhere close. And if you try, you're going to get one hell of an upset stomach, and you probably crap your pants for a few days trying to
Oh,
trying to pass that.
oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's, and I don't know if you experienced that, Marco, but digestive issues like the farts and things like that
Oh,
when you tried to
as
be
a
vegan.
vegan,
Yeah,
extremely a lot of farts. A lot of farts. As a vegetarian, less, but still up there.
yeah. So
And
that's such a major symptom that your body is saying, "Wake up, man! This is not okay. Like, if you
yeah,
like crap, you stink. Like I stink. Like, stop eating like this, right?"
pretty
So
much.
yeah, yeah. So there's a price to pay for that. So multivitamins, two thumbs down on
Yeah.
the yeah. Multivitamins are not, they're expensive pee, uh,
Yes.
and that's,
Expensive here and there.
they really are. You have to get nutrition from whole food, bioavailable food.
Hmm.
That's the name of the game for sure. Yeah.
You actually remind me of something. Before I ask my next question, a little bit sidetracked here on my. Ever since I went to the road of a carnivore diet in last September. I also decided to make my dog eat more of my type of food, whole foods, such as beef liver, kidneys, all that good stuff. And we noticed a change in his fur, in his overall health. My wife would question, like, why would you give him this type of your food? Just give him his dog food. It has salmon inside. And I told her, why would I give my dog processed salmon and sweet potatoes when I can just give him the real stuff that we already buy? And she's like, oh yeah. So basically, my dog is, I would say, a good 90% on whole foods and very little touches his kibble. His little bag of kibble that used to last him a month, it's probably like 3 months. We haven't every 3 months we probably buy one, not maybe even longer. So he's been doing really well too, because he's like, I was another dumb question I used to ask myself. Dog kibble. How long has it been around? 50, 60 years? What did dogs eat before that?
Hmm.
People would say they used to eat scraps and meats, and well,
Yeah.
of course. So why are these companies making all these processed foods that are giving their dogs now have shorter lifespans than they were do before? See, these are another thing that goes in my mind. It goes crazy. I have to constantly ask myself these questions for foods, even for dog as like animals as well, dogs and cats. Like, why do they have so many products out there that even they have so many multivitamins too for dogs?
Hmm.
Dogs for joints, dog joint pains, muscle spasms. Like, what is going on? It's just we live in a big money market pit of like you must buy everything to if you want to be healthy.
Yeah.
That's
It's
something that really bugged me.
it's so that's a great point, Marco. I mean, our furry friends are walking the same corrupt, sick care
Yeah.
system that we are. Yeah, like golden retrievers. I think they used to live on average of 18 years, and now they're
Yes.
down to 12 or something.
Yes, exactly. 12.
Yeah, and it's kibble, and human beings, same thing. We eat kibble now. Like, look at
That's what it is.
the the deranged looking food supply that we have. That's chock full of of grains, wheat
That,
products, and causing inflammatory issues riddled throughout our body. And our furry friends are experiencing the exact same thing. So
yeah.
they've got chronic illness. It's like we're in competition for who can achieve the
Was the best
larger amount of
kibble.
chronic illnesses here. Yeah, like
Yeah, or
it's
that.
yeah. We should just eat the same food. If you're yeah, same kibble. Like go to the drive-through at McDonald's and grab yourself a Big Mac. Grab your dog a Big Mac. Like
Yeah.
a bucket of French fries. We're on the same programs here, so it's
We're all in
disturbing.
the kibble program. It's really scary.
It is.
And
Yes. Yeah.
another thing that really scares me, I want to mention to you about was, people don't focus on their health too much and they look for these quick fixes. So one being multivitamins. The next one is they worry about their energy, and a lot of people are starting to become more tired lately because they do more busier life schedules, whatnot. So what do they resolve in? They resolve in coffee. I myself have beaten the phase of being addicted to coffee. Do I have coffee every now and then? Yes, I do, but it's a very small amount. But there are days like this week I probably had coffee 2 times this week. So there's once I stopped drinking coffee for twice a week. So I'm slowly beating that morning coffee one because I've seen and I hear what people do. They say, "Oh, I'm on my fourth or fifth coffee today." I'm like, "Excuse me? Why are you at that do you know, like, even as a small coffee drinker myself, do you know the amount of caffeine that's in your body that won't let you get proper sleep at night if you continue to drink coffee after lunchtime, how long it stays in your body? So do you feel that this whole coffee market is also impacting our overall health?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yes. So oh, what a great and like wow, there's so many different lanes that I could go down here
Yeah,
and try to like
choose any lane you want,
capture it all,
go them
right?
all,
Yeah.
to them all.
So, you know, let's start with just uh, coffee is just such a massive grown crop now, and it's also unfortunately like it really it's kind of like it's a great product, but it's also one of the most sprayed crops in the world. So, I mean, quality matters for you as an individual. Metabolism matters as well. So if we
Hmm.
take a look at how, so the one size fits all ideology is a dangerous place to start. You should
Hmm.
never do that. So is coffee going to work really well for everyone? No. Are some people going to feel way better on coffee, completely normal, than others? 100% for sure. And so you first need to be able to listen to yourself and how you're metabolizing and digesting coffee. And we take a look at alcohols. We There's some cultures that do absolutely brutal on alcohol, and they metabolize it poorly and very differently from other cultures. For example, Native Americans, and Asian cultures, they metabolize alcohol poorly. They get very red faced. The noses get very enlarged and red as well. Skin changes happen, and they get highly intoxicated exceptionally fast. So
Hmm.
these are cultures that metabolize these differently. Coffee is another one of those things that I just encourage people to really pay attention. How do you feel? Some folks get headaches, they get digestive issues. So it's something that you should likely stay away from, or limit yourself. And you're right, Marco. When people get into that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cups a day, you know, and when you start to rely on coffee
Hmm.
for energy, any exogenous source for energy, that's a really great sign to start to taper back off of it or get off of it completely. So, it's first listening to your body on that. Now, coffee as a whole, like
Yeah.
in terms of the spraying and whatnot, that's a concern that I have for sure. I don't like that. So source organic if you can. And then if you feel okay on coffee, yeah, make sure that you're never relying on it for energy. There are a lot of, you know, there's so many different studies on coffee. And you know,
Yes.
one of the ones that I think that's worth starting with is, I think his name is, uh, forgive me if I'm wrong about this, CW Post. I want to say is one of the. He's a gentleman that was marketing like a some sort of like wheat based kind of drink, and so he had launched a bunch of ads bad mouthing coffee, and that's where a lot of that stuff kind of started, like, you know, don't drink coffee too young, it'll stunt your growth and all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
And you know, there's nothing concrete about that. That's just like, that's old school smack talk by CW Post there on coffee. So um, if you're getting but you know, on the flip side, some of the benefits, the real benefits that people experience on coffee and feel good are, you know, enhancements in mood, in energy.
Yes.
uh, you know, there are some studies out there indicating that there's major benefits for, you know, cognitive function, and there's correlations towards dementia and Alzheimer's and having improvements in that. uh, Energy production, all those kind of things that are correlated and associated with coffee. That, so there's some real potential upsides on coffee that are
Hmm.
worth digging into. But I think the most important thing that folks need to understand is that how you metabolize coffee may be the most important. So listening to your body and your mind on how that's working for you. And I don't think anything is worth overdoing. So if
Yeah.
you find yourself trickling into that 3, 4, 5 cups territory, just hopefully there's flags going off, alarms going off, going like, hey, maybe my adrenal glands are starting to rely on this product and
Yeah.
I should scale back. Right. So that's my take on coffee. I think that there's some genuine potential benefits on it, but is it a one size fits all? No, it's not.
No. Well, just to add on to that point with coffee and anything in general, like when they say like a cup of coffee a day is good for you, or let's say one apple a day keeps a doctor away. Have you ever eaten 6 apples or more in a one day? The amount of acid that goes in your stomach and the pain you'll feel. So I think people need to understand that it's moderation, it's, you know, the proper portions. If you want to like, too much coffee is not good. The same as too many apples that are good for you. Too many of them can actually hurt you. So people have to understand that they have to like take the precaution with what they choose to do and how much they choose to drink or eat of those certain foods or drinks in a day.
That's right. There's no signals, satiety signals that get triggered
Yeah.
with those things for a lot of people, anyways. You know, so that's why you can smash a buffet of junk food and just keep going, right? Whereas
Yeah.
you try to overeat on something like meat and high quality fat, good
Yeah.
luck. The
Yeah.
satiety signals will switch off. That's why everybody loses weight doing carnivore. They feel
Yeah.
better doing carnivore. Good luck trying to overeat those products. You will not. Your body is it got great communication with those products, and you'll struggle doing that. So
Absolutely. Actually, since you mentioned it, when I was vegetarian, I always had this. I wasn't never an overweight kind of guy, but I was always fit, always active. But I always had the last, let's say, 5 years, this little bit of belly fat that would never go away,
mm,
never go. Even as a vegetarian and carnivore, it was always there. Always a vegetarian and a vegan, it was always there. As soon as I switched to carnivore, maybe after a month, I got leaner at 30, not soon to be 38. And people now ask me, which is a huge motivation, like compliment to me, is like, Marco, what are you eating? I'm like, it's carnivore. It's a
yeah,
carnivore diet. I've done it all. So that's why when I tell people my personal, I always say it's my experience. So this was works for me because I never like to force anything on anyone. Even when I was a vegetarian or a vegan, I said this is the lifestyle I chose. It's working for me right now. But the carnivore by far has
hmm
been the most fun. I'm so thrilled cooking now. Such passion. And one thing I want to tell you that I do add on to my diet now is, well, besides these guys right here,
yeah,
that make things easier for me. But even though I've introduced bone marrow in my diet, I have it almost every week. I eat beef heart and I eat liver. That is like part of my routine now every week. It has to be in my diet. It's either frozen in my freezer, prepared, cut, ready to go, ready to fry, or it's fresh in my fridge even faster. That is one thing I'm really proud of. And I feel that's the biggest change too. That's where I get my energy. And that's why I rely less on coffee. I tell people, don't expect to be Superman in 24 hours. Give yourself a couple of weeks till you see these little changes that will add up in time. And now at 38, I'm not saying I'm the most athletic person in the world, but when I'm rolling with those younger dudes, when I do jiu-jitsu, oh man, they get their money's worth. I'll tell you what. So I'm super happy that I switched over to this lifestyle. It's been nothing but like good vibes for me, good news.
Good for you.
And
And
that's
I've seen those posts. So well done, Marco. You're eating like a savage. I love it. It's great.
my wife sees it too. She doesn't mind the smell. She's almost there.
Yeah.
But that's another thing I want to tell you, that something that goes hand in hand for me. So with health, I find health complements movement. So movement being any type of training. So Nigel, do you do any physical activity outside of higher health? Like, what's something that you do like that you like doing actively?
Yeah. Oh, I love sports. I love
Okay.
sports, and so I'll do pretty much every sport. I mean, if somebody invites me to do something, but I grew up playing hockey. I grew up
Mm-hmm.
doing taekwondo. I grew up doing that
Nice.
one. That was fun. And now as an adult, I do jujitsu. Well,
Nice.
you know what? We moved end of January to Montana to get
Mm-hmm.
things really rocking in the USA.
Yeah.
And so for your audience that doesn't know, like we set up shop and my business in Alberta,
Pretty
and
nice.
this is like just over 3.5 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, you know, we 2-3 months into having our business going in Canada, I had Americans reaching out to see if they could get our product, and the answer was no. Just dealing with meat crossing the border was
Yeah.
something that I didn't care to get involved in, and also it just didn't sit well with me or fit my brand. What I want to do is I want to provide support to the local farmers and feed people with the farmers that are doing it the right way within the country. So now
Mm-hmm.
we're out here in Montana doing the exact same thing that we've done out in Canada here now. So we moved here end of January, and so I haven't done jujitsu since moving, as
Mm-hmm.
we're just too busy getting set up. So I'm missing it, and yeah, I can't wait to get choked out again. It's going to be great. So it's just
Such a
it's
weird thing to say, but only jujitsu practitioners will understand that.
yeah, absolutely right. It's martial arts in general, but jujitsu is I've really and I think that this is maybe one of the main reasons why so many guys are kind of really enjoying jujitsu, and it's kind of really taken off right now. Besides marketing and the sport growing and all that kind of stuff, is that it's something that you can also do as an older individual. And if
Yes.
you're rolling with guys that are, not trying to twist each other's heads off, you can do this sport, and it's like chess. You're really working your brain, and I gotta say that that's one of the greatest pulls for me is I'm really expanding my brain. But also, I love jujitsu because it really gets me out of my comfort zone. And I think that is so bloody important for men today because, we everything's so soft. We're so, we've got heated seats in our trucks now. We've got, like conveniences out the yin yang, like everything's so delicate and soft,
Yeah.
and jujitsu gets me well outside of my comfort zone because it is bloody hard. And
It is.
yeah, you're really, there's nothing comfortable about jujitsu. It's amazing. So it's like, so two thumbs up to that. It's fantastic. But yeah, grew up with hockey. I love hockey. So as soon as I can get involved in a team like a team that I can have some fun doing that. Golf in the summer, I like to do that. I'm a horrible golfer, but I love it. And then what else? I like to go to the gym. I'm a gym guy as well. I love to hit the gym on top of that. So I think that you know, diet so important. Rest is extremely important.
Yes.
Exercise, moving your body is like your returns when you exercise and sleep well are immeasurable. They're just,
Yes.
you have to do it. You have to move your body. You you only get what you get out what you put in, and your body is so worth movement. And so, yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
get involved as many things as I can. Being a dad now of two kids, one's
Amazing.
6 months old, so
Oh wow.
sometimes you have to cut back on some of the activity like jujitsu
Yeah.
for a little while until I can, line it up again and get back in
Yeah.
it. So yeah, yeah,
For sure. I actually told my wife once I went carnivore. I told her I'm gonna change the way I look at life now. I said I'm gonna invest in something completely different. And she's like, "What are you gonna invest in?" I said, "For once, I'm gonna invest in myself." And that means is I'm gonna invest in higher, better quality foods. I'm gonna invest in whole milk. I'll pay that $2-3 more. I'll invest in better meats. I'll pay that extra $50 to $100 more per week on grocery because it's worth it, and it's paying off because my recovery time is great. My energy is great. I'm feeling fantastic, and it's the best investment you could do. People have to stop wasting their time, their money on Amazon or Netflix and whatnot. They have to really start thinking about what's really important is our health, because I know you could probably agree with me on this, is as we get older, the most important thing to us is our families. And the one thing that I don't want to be is this. I always say this. How do I? Not being too mean on myself. This burden on my family. I don't want to be that guy that I can't play with my kid or kids or I can't do anything because I'm tired all the time. So I'm really always investing on myself and my family. So food is always number one to me. And then again, the movement, whatever people want to do, go for a walk, play hockey, golf. I even said jokes like do curling or badminton. It's still you'll still get a workout. So that is something that's really important to me.
yeah.
And
You're right, 100%. And you owe it to yourself, your family,
mm-hmm,
and you said something like you're worth that investment. You're investing more in food and whatnot. So uh, with that, I always like to tell folks, don't get it wrong. There is a major cost by not investing in those things. Don't think it's
absolutely.
free or less expensive. It is not, because
Mm-hmm,
the long term of that is quite expensive. Not to
mm-hmm,
mention the quality of life that you have, and everybody knows life is short. Why are you going to live it suboptimally? Eat nutrient dense foods that fuel you, that give you the building blocks, the amino acids, the hormone profile that you should have as
mm-hmm,
a man or a woman. Have ripping
absolutely.
high testosterone, have ripping high drive, libido, all of that. Be a high performing human being, and do the things that you need to do, and without a doubt, eat well, sleep well, move well.
Awesome. I have two more questions for you actually. And before we end on these two questions, one I want to say is as you know, I already take beef organs and beef heart. These are my go-tos right now. Uh, I've just received notification on my email that there's a new product being released soon. Would you care to elaborate on that and the benefits of that new product that I might be buying very soon?
Yeah, so it's on. It's we made it because of the demand that's out there, and there's a demand out there because of that's been caused by and large because of long-term nutritional deficiencies. So
Mm-hmm.
it is more of a specialty product. So if we talk iron for a moment, low iron is unbelievably common right now. Anemia,
Mm-hmm.
very common right
Yes.
now among people, especially our female population. And it's not supposed to be that way, but this is
Mm.
an example of really poor food supply that we have. It's just not providing us with the nutritional values that we require, and so we've got low iron and anemia that's happening. And without proper hemoglobin, without proper heme iron, you don't get that oxygen transportation to the cells. So you can only imagine the energy depletion of somebody that's low iron or anemic. And as soon as somebody adds heme iron rich whole food source to their diet, they will have 75, 80% plus immediate interaction with energy, a boost in energy. So Uh, we've got a brand new product because of a lot of naturopathic doctors and customers that are low iron, excuse me, uh, low iron that are reaching out for this product. That it's a specialty kind of thing that they're looking for is a product with more iron, and that's where it
Mm.
really kind of all stems from. So it's a really incredible product. It's our beef spleen and liver.
Mm-hmm.
So it has got the most heme iron in it for that individual that has that need. So for most people, though, our liver alone, our beef organs especially, because it's got slightly higher, about approximately 5.5 milligrams per 6 capsule serving of heme iron. Beef kidney, all
Mm-hmm.
of these will serve uh, everybody else, uh, including those that are low iron. Really, it's one of the things that allowed our business to really kind of get some movement was that population first and foremost, because there's just that many people that are not eating good sources of of uh, of iron, vitamin A, and B12, and so there's and zinc, of course, in there as well, amongst a whole long list of other things that
Mm-hmm.
are
Yeah.
deficient in our food supply. And so that's why the product was created. So yeah, we've got our beef spleen plus liver. So if you or someone you know is in need of a serious boost to their immune system and heme iron, that is a phenomenal product, and it is going to be one of those products that we have, and when
Mm-hmm.
it's sold out, it's sold out, and then you'll have to wait for the next launch, because the spleen is the one of the smallest organs within uh, the animal. So we have the least amount of it, and we
Yeah.
harvest in a balanced way. We take all that we can, uh, the those organs. So being that it's the smallest one, it'll be kind of as we go with our batches, it'll be available. Then you'll see it sold out. Just keep an eye on it, and away
Mm-hmm.
you go. So yeah, and so there's
Cool.
that one, and then we plan on having a few new products as our goal to expand and be as whole animal providers that we possibly can. We'll
Awesome.
have more coming up down the pipeline. So within Canada, there is a lot of restrictions,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately,
Yes.
a lot of red tape. So there's a lot of pushback and work
Yeah.
that we need to do with consultants and all that kind of crazy stuff to just say, hey, let us eat this animal, would you? It's wild. So yeah,
I can only imagine. Yeah, for sure. I know
so
we have a lot of laws here in Canada. Even the law that comes to mind is raw milk,
I,
but that's another story. One day it'll change.
I was just
But
going to say what a crime it is that is illegal. And to your listeners, that we're out here in Montana. It is not illegal out here, and it is just wild that raw milk is illegal anywhere. It's a
it's
crime. It's a crime against humanity.
yeah.
Man, does that milk ever taste good? Right now,
I can only imagine one day I'll taste it.
oh,
One day.
we're getting raw, full fat goat milk right now, and it
Okay.
is unbelievable. So yeah, yeah,
I'm hungry now.
it's great.
I'm very thirsty right now.
Yes, as am I.
But
Yeah.
my last question to end off with you, Nigel, is higher health. The way you're moving, where do you see yourself now moving forward in the next 5 to 10 years? More products, more growth. What is your vision? Curious. I hope more products, to be
Yeah,
honest,
yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, great
and more
question.
T-shirts too, as you see here. Nice T-shirt
Yeah,
I got going here.
you're rocking it well. Thank you,
Rocking it
Marco.
well, I know.
Looks good. Looks good.
Thanks.
So yeah, already we've become a trusted name in a very untrustworthy market. Food is a mess, and so we, as a company, have it's all about trust, and it's something that we never want to lose with our customers, and we plan on never losing it, because we're
Mhm.
not interested in adding any sort of fillers or ingredients that are not supposed to be in the human body. So our organ meats are 100% organ meat in the capsule. And then the capsules themselves are 100% bovine collagen. It's all things that are supposed to be within our bodies. So that's great. We'll never add anything that's not supposed to be. So as we expand, I hope to become more and more of a trusted brand for folks, for their entire families. That you
Mhm.
don't have to look at our bottles and go, okay, well, what's in here? It should be like instantly, oh, this is simple. It's just meat in there. We
Yeah.
we wanted to add colostrum next to our product lineup I think colostrum is a very potent, highly beneficial product that I'm hell bent on getting added to our lineup. We could have had it last year. Unfortunately, the source that we were going to use, and by the way, we have direct relationships with all our farmers.
Yes.
It's a non-negotiable. I do not want to sell anything where I do not have a complete direct relationship. I know exactly how you're farming. I know that you're regenerative, so I can trust, and I go to that farm and I see, oh, you actually mean what you said. You don't have and you don't use any pesticides or herbicides at all on the land. So that's important. Antibiotics, vaccinations, all this kind of stuff. These are concerns for us, and they should be for you and your family. These don't belong in your diet. And so we're doing that background check, and we work to do that. So the colostrum, it fell through last year because these guys did not want to release a product to us that did not have brown rice filler in it. Just to give you an example. So that's garbage, doesn't belong in the diet. You don't need it. So we're not doing that. So we're getting very close though to adding collagen, bone broth, and colostrum that is just the way that is intended for our bodies. So those products hopefully are soon to come within us. And then, yeah, as we keep pushing to add more and more of the organs, whole animal is our goal, Marco.
Mm.
So, yeah, another product that we will not be getting from cows, but we hope to be getting from bison soon is
Oh wow.
some testicles as well. So yeah, that's the goal. And so 5-10 years, hopefully we've got a lot more products that take all of the guesswork out for you and your family on your health. So it's that's the goal, and we want to keep connecting people more and more to their food sources, to the farmers who put in the hard work, where it comes from, as well with our company. That's important to us as a brand, is to ensure that people are well aware of what's going into their body and where it came from. So
Absolutely. And I'll be say something completely honest. You're the only vitamin I say vitamin I
yeah.
actually take is right here in my natural in my raw liver and everything. So that's I've been great. I haven't taken vitamins ever since last year. So I've been fantastic. I'm super happy and proud of what you've been doing. It's your growth is unbelievable. And I want to say thank you again for joining on my podcast. And I hope if we ever do talk again on my podcast, I hopefully I can have a nice cup of raw milk and chin with you right there. Hopefully that will come soon. I don't know, but
Sign me
Nigel,
up for that one.
so,
Yeah.
warm milk,
Marco,
warm.
thanks so much for the kind words,
Thank.
and thanks for having me on. What a pleasure and an honor. And yeah, I look forward to what you've got going on here. It's super exciting and great work. And thank you for the support. And yeah, we'll definitely be back on it if you'll have me. So thank you.
Oh, for sure. The pleasure is all mine. So, guys, thank you again. Nigel, thank you, guys. Have a good one. Have a good roll. Us.